Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Arkansas hosting Troy. Normally, I wouldn't talk about Arkansas versus Troy unless Arkansas lost. And thankfully, Arkansas did not lose that game. The final score in this one wasn't really reflective of the game itself. Final score was 65-49. Big story in this, there were really two big stories. One, why it was not reflective of the game itself is that Arkansas trailed at the half. Arkansas was down in this game 27-26 at the half. And the other big story is that Big Z went bonkers in the second half, okay? He finished the game with 19 points off the bench, 6 3-pointers, 5 blocks, 3 steals. I believe I saw a stat. He's the first player in college basketball history with a game where he had 6 threes, 5 blocks, and 3 steals. But I bring it up because despite the Big Z heroics wearing his headband, it was not a pretty performance, and this is really now 3 straight games to open the season where Arkansas has not looked great out of the gates, and a lot of people are asking, is it time to worry about this team? Now, I want to get into my personal opinion, but it is worth noting. It's not just my opinion on how worried Arkansas fans should be or how worried college or how worried whatever. But John Calipari had some very interesting things to say about how he feels about his team right now. Producer Matt, go ahead and play John Calipari after the 65-49 win against Troy.
I was not in a good place in the locker room after the game. And the reason is I need to teach these guys how to win and how to finish games. You don't come down and throw a lob pass out of bounds and throw a deep pass out of bounds and shoot a quick 3 with 2 minutes to go, drive the wrong way. We're running offense. You dribble the ball out of bounds? Why'd you do that? Well, I was trying to. Whoa. In no uncertain terms, I let him know that ain't happening. Because in an SEC game, it's an 8-point game. You lose the game in 2 minutes because you do your own thing. You play to win. That means massage the clock. Score at the buzzer. Shot clock, and what's their team do? Ugh.
Great work, producer Matt, turning that around. I did not see that clip until about 10 minutes before we went live on air, so I appreciate producer Matt doing that. So let me say this. John Calipari himself says Arkansas and he himself are, quote, not in a very good place right now. So I am not one to disagree. Let me say this. As somebody who has followed John Calipari's career since the Memphis days, since the UMass days, I'm actually not as worried as people, as a lot of other people. But what I will also say is if you are frustrated, if you are disappointed with the start to this season, I don't blame you. And I do agree that I agree with John Calipari. They got to get some stuff cleaned up here before the games really start to matter. First off, let me say this. I know I've been a Calipari defender. I am a little bit disappointed with how this team has looked. And yes, I'm the guy that tweeted out after the Kansas exhibition game that this team has Final Four potential. And yes, I picked them to go to the Final Four. And yes, by the way, when it was halftime against Troy and Troy led 27-26, I was ready to be the guy that came on and led today's show talking about, did I make a huge mistake picking this team to go to the Final Four? So it is frustrating. It is disappointing. Let me also put a little bit of a glasses half full spin on it. One, you're 2-1. You expected to be 2-1 at this point. You hope to be 3-0. The Baylor game was there for the taking. You easily could have won that. You end up losing that game by 5, probably about 30, 45 minutes from the Baylor campus. And so I bring it up because, listen, if we're going to praise Duke after Duke easily could have and maybe should have beaten Kentucky on Tuesday night, and we're not going to say that Duke season is over and the worst program ever, I'm not going to do the same with Arkansas either. And what I would also say is there are some positives and there are some really fixable things. I think that sometimes when you see results like this, and obviously, look, there's a lot of negativity around Calipari right now from a certain fan base. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I bring it up because there are positives, and it is easy to lose the positives in what has been not the prettiest basketball so far. First of all, it's worth noting the defense has been very good for Arkansas. And so for everybody that's going to sit there and say, oh, Calipari's teams always stink, they always this, they always that. Remember last year that at the previous stop for John Calipari, the offense was very good, but the defense was really bad, like historically bad. And had he stayed at the previous school, the big conversation was he has to hire a defensive coordinator. The defense has to get better, whatever. The one thing you cannot deny about this Arkansas team, give them a little bit of credit. They play really hard and they defend their butts off. Okay. I mentioned Big Z with 5 blocks on Wednesday night in this win. Trevin Brazil, I think, has been playing his you-know-what off so far this season, leaves this game with an ankle injury. You hope he's okay. Also worth noting, by the way, as far as this game is concerned, Jonas Aidoo is nowhere close to 100%. Jonas Aidoo was one of the best big men in the SEC last year. You go back to Tuesday or Wednesday night, he played 4 minutes in this game, had a donuts across the board. 0.0 rebounds, 0 shots attempted. He's clearly not 100%. And so you think about what I just said. You have 3 big guys that are all, I believe, all SEC caliber. Trevin Brazil gets hurt, does not come back. Jonas Aidoo does not play at all. And he still hold Troy to 49 points. Now, it kind of helped because you had to play Big Z, but you hold Troy to 49 points with basically one big guy in this game. The defense has been good. The perimeter defense with what's his face with Boogie Fland has been really good. And I think also the other thing that stands out, the 3-point shooting we all know has been bad. They got dudes that can make 3-point shots that just aren't making them. Okay. And that's not even my opinion. How about this? John L. Davis, who himself was dealing with a preseason injury. John L. Davis shot 41% from 3 last year. Right now, John L. Davis is shooting 15% from the 3-point line this season, okay? And so for me, it is hard to sit here and say that they are incapable of shooting threes when, first of all, they did finish 10 of 23 on whatever it was, Wednesday night. And then on top of that, it's also worth noting that John L. Davis is going to hit threes. Boogie Fland has actually hit him at a higher clip than I think a lot of people realize. The threes are eventually going to fall. And when they do, all of a sudden, it's going to look like it did in the second half. And what I would also say is this, and I think this is important. And I know Big Blue Nation is going to disagree with me and they're going to yell at me and they're going to scream at me and whatever. You guys are entitled to do that. I whatever. But Calipari's teams always start slow. And it's not necessarily not by design. What I mean by that, I know that was like a quadruple negative. But Calipari has talked, and I thought he did he said something very eloquent over the summer, where over the summer, he's talking about his team and having the guys on campus. He said the summer and early part of practice is about making you into the best version of yourself. And it's a lot of individual work. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of that. And then as we get closer to the season, it's about the team stuff. It's about installing offense. It's about installing defense. It's about this. It's about that. It's about whatever. And so I only bring it up to very simply say that if you actually look at the results, this is a guy that over the years, his teams do get better. And I do think there is a little bit of they're a little loose. They're playing Troy. People aren't really locked in. But if you go ahead and just look at last year, because I know what everyone's going to say, oh, Kelly's past his prime is whatever. This was a guy at Kentucky who finished second in the SEC and who does know how to win games in this league. And let's remember that over the final month of the season, Tennessee won the SEC regular season title. Kentucky won at Tennessee. Auburn was the SEC tournament champs. Kentucky won at Auburn. Alabama made the Final Four. John Calipari's team destroyed Alabama. Who else? There's another one I'm missing somewhere along the way. Oh, they won at Budweiser Arena as well. And so I only bring it up to very simply say, I don't think it's time to panic. The talent is there. You would hope that they were further along. You would hope that they would perform better in these early season games. But as the Arkansas official basketball Twitter account tweeted out, a win is a win. They all count the same. And so you avoided the bad loss. I'm not yet worried. This team is going to get better. You certainly need to see improvement, but I need to, You need to see improvement from the team. I need to see improvement from certain players. I need to see improvement from Nelly Davis. I need to see Jonas Adu healthy. I'm going to pray that Trevin Brazil, there's nothing major. If there's an update and I missed it, I apologize. But I just bring it up. Torres ain't freaking out yet. Torres ain't freaking out yet. By the way, I do have a little bit of an update. I do see producer Matt has dropped in the chat. Caleb Wilson, 5-star, was supposed to visit Arkansas this weekend. He is not. That might be another standalone clip for another day. I think he's going to end up a Wildcat.